Hello, everybody, and welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm John here with Kaiser on the couch one more time. He's getting rested up because he goes for a grooming tomorrow, and that's usually a little hard on him, but he's taking it easy this morning after breakfast. He's over here in the studio with me, sleeping on the couch one more time. Maybe he'll come and visit before the end of this broadcast, and maybe not. He's a very independent poodle. But we're here today to go through quite a few things that have been going on. The big news is what happened yesterday with the announcement of a somewhat reached agreement with trade partners such as tariff reductions with China, and drove the stock market up to close in and around 1,600 and change yesterday. A little bit of sell-off overnight with the day traders gave us a little bit of a negative start on this morning, but we'll see where it goes. We know that Donald Trump left yesterday and was on his way over to Saudi Arabia, where he was met by the entire Crown Prince family as well as the king out there on the tarmac to meet him. And they say now, as of an hour ago, that there has been a deal reached between Trump and the Saudis. So we'll see as the day carries on where that takes us. And then maybe as this morning, MSNBC will have to eat some words that they're putting out there one more time against carrying the mantra of the Democrats, saying that, he is going to break the economy, the tariffs won't work, all of this nonsense. And that's MSNBC now eating their words on what was said over the last weekend reports that were put out by their lackluster talking heads over there that have no idea in some cases what they're even talking about. It's almost comical in the sense that they believe that they are smarter at reading a piece of paper or a teleprompter than you are with your ear to the ground listening to what's happening every day, actually getting into your automobile and going to a grocery store to buy the goods that they say are not on the shelves, which they are on the shelves, and the prices are starting to decline ever so slowly because we did have a little hiccup in some of the deliveries that were taking place, but not exactly due to the tariff situation, but more due to the traffic situation of getting the transportation in line and up and running, as well as stores holding back on filling the shelves in some cases because they didn't want to buy at a higher price, which was, when we talk about higher prices having hit as a result of tariffs put out by Trump, we're talking about a minuscule increase in prices. The important things are the gasoline that you put in your car to get to the grocery store, and then the price, of course, of eggs and some of the goods have gone down. The farms are starting to work. We're running into a growing season now here in the United States. So we don't have to import from South America, Central America, and Mexico most of the vegetables that we put on our plates here over the winter months. And we know that California has drawn back on their farmers, and in some cases the land is being eaten up in Florida that used to grow a lot of these vegetables to build houses and developments to take care of all of the people that are moving out of the blue states into Tennessee, Texas, Florida, in and around the country, where they're going to overpopulate areas that were used at one time for producing produce that is needed to feed America and some other places around the world. It's coming back, folks. It's evident almost every day that we wake up, turn on the TV, and see what has he done now. And now with his visits overseas, I expect more of surprises. Yes, but they're good surprises. They're deals being cut right now. It's like what he had to say to the crown princes yesterday. They pledged $600 million, and he goes, "Why isn't it $1 trillion?" And they're going to acquiesce on some of this. It's if you don't ask, you don't get. And now the media is just obsessed up to their eyeballs in the fact that Qatar is going to try to give him this new jet to replace Air Force One. And the Democrats cannot stand it, and the media will drive this 3 ways from Sunday to convince you that it's Donald Trump is breaking the law one more time. And as the press secretary said, there won't be any laws broken on this. It will be given to the DOD to make sure that it is up to grade for Air Force One. And they'll use it as Air Force One. And if they don't want to keep it, or Congress decides to say that they can't keep it, then it will go to a library somewhere. But whatever, he's not getting a personal gift from Qatar. The country is receiving this gift. And as he put it in a golf vernacular yesterday, if they're giving you a putt, take it and say thank you and walk on to the next hole. But the Democrats cannot do that. They have to find the gotcha moment to where they can run down somebody one more time. And now MSNBC will carry this banner, as well as CNN and all of the other mainstream medias, such as newspapers and so on, will have a week or two of running this into the ground. But MSNBC ate their words and their lies yesterday. Let's take a look right here and see what they're saying or had said.
When I look at your approval numbers, they're the worst they've ever been in the history of our country. The media, the approval numbers, they are horrible.
Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. The President of the United States really does seem hell-bent on intentionally destroying the U.S. economy. Trump has been repeatedly lying, I mean, truly lying to the press, to everyone, about negotiations with China. Remember, he said he talked to Xi and that he called, and we haven't had any negotiations, as the secretary told the committee. We are still, day after day, speeding towards a deadline where all of these global tariffs hit, while the shipping containers from China arrive empty. We see massive disruption of the supply chain. Anyone involved in logistics or shipping or trucking, they're all freaking out right now. Again, all of Trump's actions and all of his words suggest that, yes, he is foolish and destructive enough to single-handedly push the U.S. economy into a catastrophic recession.
I am your retribution. I am your retribution.
This morning, you'll see that the markets, the Dow futures, up by more than 900 points this morning. Right now, we're looking at the S&P 500. We have basically erased all of the losses that came from Liberation Day. Since the Trump tariffs, down by just 0.2% at this point. So we've made up all that ground that came back since April 2nd. You're also taking a look at the S&P futures for June, since the Trump tariffs, now up by 2.22%.
The word tariff, properly used, is a beautiful word. One of the most beautiful words I've ever heard. It's music to my ears. A lot of bad people didn't like that word, but now they're finding out I was right.
Let's check out the Treasury market as well. You'll see that right now the 10-year is, 444. and the 2 years all the way back up to 3.99. So some big jumps that you're seeing with futures, and maybe that's an indication of less thoughts of a recession being much less likely.
All of Trump's actions and all of his words suggest that, yes, he is foolish and destructive enough to single-handedly push the U.S. economy into a catastrophic recession.
Shut your mouth, essay.
It's sick.
It's interesting that they have to come back out now with a different talking head to retract, but they never retract. They just double down on what they're going to say tomorrow. It's incredible. The disarray of the Democratic Party is something to behold. Even their godfather, the Ragin' Cajun, Carville, can't get over the fact that some of these losers, such as Ilhan Omar, are out saying what they're saying and representing a party that he believes was a great party up until the fact that we let these people in. And they got elected, and whether or not it's because they rely on the population of their district to get them elected, we don't know. But why would we elect a foreigner to a congressional seat with an attitude of hating America and anything to do with it? It is beyond my understanding. And we have a president that is very outspoken. He shows up in a dark suit with a tie every day, wherever he is, to talk to whomever he is talking to that particular day on behalf of the United States of America. He looks the part, and does he act the part? He acts as someone would act that grew up and come out of an area in Queens, New York, that I am intimately familiar with, having grown up in New York myself. And you get what you see with people like he and myself and people who come out of that environment. We say what we think, and we stand pat with what we say, and we don't go back on it. Do we bloviate and then sometimes expand on what really happened? Yes, that's a product of New York, and you have to understand that. And you have to understand that you're always going to get what is exactly on his mind, as you would with anyone from that area. And they have a sense of humor, and we all have an appreciation for a sense of humor. Where we grew up, we could actually joke among each other, and whether it was about your heritage or about where you went to school, or what block you lived on, or what area code your phone number was in. These were important things to joke about and banter back and forth. I still have friends that we can do this without anybody calling us names like racist or misogynistic or so-and-so. But he shows up. He doesn't go out on a campaign trail and wear a cowboy hat and a different shirt when he's talking to Westerners. He doesn't change his accent when he goes down south to sound like a Southerner. He doesn't put on airs. He's in the same suit with a plain tie, and he shows up. He does what he says he's going to do, and they cannot stand it. Because every one of these Democrats that run against Donald Trump have to put on airs to get you to believe that they may be part of where you come from. We know where he came from. We know what he's capable of doing. And we know that he had 4 years in the past to show us how he would take care of this government. And it was done against all odds because they tried to impeach him over and over again, based on untruths, lies, and cheating, but they were not successful in this last go-around, which, thank God, because if we would have been stuck with the alternative, we would be suffering word salad hysteria today, because that person was not capable of being herself. Donald Trump is always Donald Trump. He puts on no airs. He acts like where he came from, and that is, in my book, a really good thing. Do I agree with everything that comes out of his idea locker? Absolutely not. But I believe that he has the wherewithal to do what he's promised to do, and if left alone and get this propaganda machine called the mainstream media off his back, we'll see some real progress in the rebirth of a strong, powerful country that cannot be beaten. And therein lies what he's up to right now as he travels to 3 different countries in 3 days, and possibly we'll see a 4th country coming in there as a surprise, because he cannot tell the media exactly what it is that he wants to do, because they'll malign him from now till Sunday over the fact that if there's a misstep anywhere, they'll use it against him. So speaking of wannabes and people who put on airs that were running for the vice presidential spot of the United States not that long ago, just past November, is at it once again. I don't know where this character thinks he's going, because I don't see a place for him to end up other than a nut house, because this guy is round the bend big time. And that's our friend, Tampon Tim Walz. Here he is once again, with all of the rhetoric that he feels that he has to expound upon to get us convinced that he is a viable up-and-coming candidate for whatever position that he thinks he's going to run for, while the Democratic Party is busy unelecting their co-chair or vice chair, as it is. But let's take a look at old Timmy here one more time. Take a look.
I see Donald Trump, and I said it many months ago, that he will eventually try and incarcerate political opponents.
Like the Democratic Party.
To threatening people who don't fall in line. Look, we're going to have a military parade for him. I was only half tongue-in-cheek saying, this guy will be in a military uniform before long.
You are stupid.
Yeah, well, that whole segment was just, I think, for many of us, not surprising, but I would caution all your viewers.
What is it about? It seems just so disconnected, but it seems like it must be about something more than that.
I don't know. This is where my amateur psychologist.
Your job is to figure out that word.
He's the guy who negotiated the deal. And then he turns around and says, well, we don't care much about Ken. I was glad to see the Prime Minister coming in from Canada saying, are you out of your mind? 2 things about that are wrong. No, we don't need to run government like a business, because we're not in the profit making. We're in the proving lives and looking towards the future.
You know, I don't have any idea what that means.
He is unbelievable, isn't he, folks? It's incredible that he is getting on to platforms and shows to spout this nonsense that he spouts almost every day. And It's intriguing what's going on inside the bifurcated shambles that was the Democratic Party as we knew it all along. You know, the party of slavery, the party of division, the party of Obama, the party of Kamala Harris that can't decide if she is Indian when it suits her, black when it suits her, and God knows she may come up to be Palestinian or Jewish before the year is out. We'll see where that goes. But Schumer was on some talk shows again over the weekend and finally admitted that they pushed through a lot of liberal judges with agendas to use and plants that are there to keep the Trump presidency from succeeding at several things. So let's take a listen to Chuckles the Clown Schumer admitting that they placed crooked judges in there for a defensive mode for the Democratic Party. Take a look here.
There are those who believe that we are in real time living through an assault on the constitutional order. Do you believe that we are in a constitutional crisis right now?
Oh, righty then.
Yes, our democracy is at risk because Donald Trump shows that he wishes to violate the laws in many, many different ways.
Really? That's what we've come to?
The good news here is we did put 235 judges, progressive judges, judges not under the control of Trump last year on the bench, and they are ruling against Trump time after time after time.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
So Chucky finally admits the truth right there before your very eyes. So when does being woke go too far is what you have to ask yourself. And I don't know if you've been following any of this boys and girls locker room nonsense that's going on, and the people that are athletes that are refusing to go forward in their chosen sport. The latest was the fencing finals, where woke got into that with a man trying to compete on the women's side of the fencing competitions. And the woman decided that she was going to take a knee and not go into trying to compete with a guy that's twice her strength and agility because of different structures that take place. And for those Democrats out there that may have missed some of those days in biology, there are differences. There are differences physically. There are differences mentally. We know that. And the ability to be stronger than a woman is not something that should be celebrated. And you don't pretend to be a woman so you can compete in a sport where you can go to the top because you failed to be able to do that in the men's competition. So now you're going to pretend to be a woman so you can go beat the hell out of a woman. And that is basically what this clown that's in charge of the fencing organization had to say to Congress the other day. And it's unbelievable, even in a sport like fencing, that this could take place. I'm very familiar with the fencing sport of fencing because that's what I was very good at in my youth coming up. So it's a great sport, but it has no room in it for men pretending to be women or women pretending to be men on the other side. But you don't see women doing that. You see men pretending to be women, so they can excel in a sport that they fail to excel in on their own side of the fence. Women are smarter than that. They don't want to compete in men's sports for many different reasons. But take a look at this bozo and his answers to Congress.
The gentlelady yields. I now recognize Mr. Gill from Texas.
Do you think that men should be allowed in women's locker rooms?
Sir, those regulations are set by tournament
I'm
organizers.
just asking you yes or no. Do you think men should be allowed in women's locker rooms?
I don't have a personal opinion on
You don't
that,
have
sir.
you have a personal opinion on a lot of things, but not on that?
Sure. I mean, it's a locker room is not really an area where people interact.
So the answer is yes.
I don't
Do you
really
think
have
that men should be allowed to share showers with women in athletic facilities?
I think that showering is a private activity and that it should be private.
And it should be private. There's oftentimes communal showers. Are you okay with men showering with women?
I don't have an opinion on that in the context of USA.
You don't? Interesting. That's an astounding thing to not have an opinion on. I think most normal people have an opinion on that.
Think about that.
Do you think that women, do you think that parents who don't want their daughters competing against men in women's sports are whiny?
No, sir.
You don't? Why did you write that on social media? I've got a picture here where you posted that. You were allegedly responding to a parent who didn't want their daughter being beaten up by men in sports competitions. You said, I'm not going to pull her from the sport and write a whiny email announcing my departure.
Sir, Mr. Congressman Jack had asked me about that and want to be crystal clear that was an inappropriate message.
Do you think that they're cowardly?
Sir, no, I don't. I don't at all. And in fact...
Why did you write that on social media?
I regret it, sir. I deleted it shortly after posting, and I certainly don't feel that way anymore.
You're lying, and I know you're lying.
Do you think that
Ms.
parents
Turner.
who don't want their daughters competing against men in sports should be compared to the Ku Klux Klan?
No, absolutely not. And I
why
acknowledge
did you
that I
do
said
that?
that in the message, sir.
Why
And
did
that
you
was
do that?
inappropriate.
That was inappropriate?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're right. That is inappropriate. I'd like to read what you wrote and what you posted on social media.
Sure.
Responding allegedly to a lady who had these concerns. The only wizard that's going to dig you out of the myopic hole you've put yourself and your family in is one of the, quote, grand wizard variety.
Inappropriate, sir. And I acknowledge that I said it, and I will commit to never making a message like that again.
These are bad people. These are sick degenerates.
Are you okay with men showering with women?
I don't have an opinion on that.
It's a sad state of affairs when we have to have our Congress tied up with hearings with people like this that make no sense at all or bring nothing to the table but more division. And that's what the Democratic Party is all about, keeping us divided, keeping us in fear, and keeping us away from God and anything good in this world, so they can be the elites that sit on top, flying in private jets, hanging out with celebrities and the like, while they do not do the work that they were elected to do that is sorely in need of handling. And we watched it fail for the last 2 decades. And that includes some of the Bush's terms that were in there. And it's not just all Obama and Biden and Harris. There's a lot to be looked at what happened in the past to make this country start to go downhill. And then in the last 4 years, we watched the nails being put in the coffin of our not only democracy, but a great republic with laws that were beneficial to all, that they divided and tried to conquer. Thank the Lord for sparing the life of Donald J. Trump when the assassination attempt failed, because we would have been stuck with more of the same, and I don't believe this country would have survived a Harris administration. We barely survived the Biden side of things in President Jill and whoever the bureaucrats were running the auto pen that was our government for 4 years. So being woke doesn't go that far any longer, and it's a great thing. So with that, we'll talk a little bit about, we'll visit Stupid Town here in a minute. We got a Superman in the White House right now, and he's overseas right now doing the best he can to pull together these trade deals and peace deals that are needed. We have to put a stop to the Ukraine-Russian war. We have to put a stop to the Gaza business that's going on. He got another hostage released yesterday who happened to be a dual citizen of America and Israel, went over there to join the Israel army and was taken hostage back after the October 7th surprise and held the longest. He came out looking okay. I'm hoping that he hasn't been affected mentally over it, but this is what we have when we have a president. We have a negotiation to release a hostage, and the hostage gets released. Why it didn't happen a long, long time ago, we don't know. And as far as the Palestinians' protests that are taking place here, you all ought to be ashamed of yourselves for even thinking of walking the streets with a Palestinian flag in this country. And then you have the media that comes along all upset over the fact that South Africans, 50 South African people, were granted asylum here. The correct way of asking for asylum. Not crashing through an open border, not sneaking in on an airplane in the middle of the night to a city of their choice, but they did it correctly. They applied for and were granted asylum. I'm not going to get into the reasoning that they had to leave there, but I think you'll all find out very soon what's going on in South Africa right now. These people came in carrying American flags. That should tell you something. They didn't come in carrying South African flags. They didn't come in flying something about apartheid. They didn't come in flying a Muslim flag or a Palestinian flag. They came with an American flag and said they were happy to become part of America. This is the kind of immigrant that we all came from. The ones that came here from Ireland, England, Germany, Japan, so on and so forth. We came in the right fashion and did the right thing. And we all tried to speak English in some cases and went to school to learn English so you fit in. We have a melting pot here in the United States, which people are welcome to join. But you join correctly. You join legally. You come into this country with hat in hand and say thank you for letting us live in this beautiful land called the United States of America. So media, get the hell off their backs. You let 20 million people into this country under your watches to do harm and do it illegally. And half of these people were not of good stead, or we don't even know where they are. So don't malign these 50 people to get ratings on your news programs, because it's not going to work this time around. You're all complicit in letting 20 million people illegally enter this country. So don't say a damn word about these 50 South Africans that really want to be here, and will add something to our mainstream that will be profitable for them and a help to this country, not a drain on all the social programs and the killing of major cities in this country for the sheer fact that you need a vote, Democrats. And you're being helped by the propaganda machine. So with that, let's take a short jaunt into Stupid Town and look at the Democratic look at what's going on with the new edict on pharmaceutical prices. This ought to give you a smile and also wake you up to the fact that the Democrats do not care about you, not one bit, or what you're paying for your drugs. It's a travesty. Take a look right here at Stupid Town.
Captain Perry, Donald Trump is going to reduce drug prices by up to 80%. If he does this, Big Pharma won't be able to pay all of Congress to fly in private jets, which means I'll be forced to wait in line at United Airlines, and I have no time for that. That's why I need you to fly me to DC in your spaceship.
Of course, Bernie. I'm Captain Perry. I use the power of love to learn science.
Did you remember to check the turbo pumps, Captain Perry?
The turbo pumps? They're painted blue and on the bottom of the rocket, and I love them.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry, Bernie. It's probably safer to just take a Gulfstream jet. Good thinking. Private jets are really the only way to fly.
Donald, if you cut Big Pharma's profits, every member of Congress will be forced to travel like peasants.
Sorry I'm late. I got hungry on the way here and only had time to stop for a 13-course meal at the 5-star restaurant.
That's all right, Bernie. Donald, I know we've had our differences, but please don't go after Big Pharma. I cannot go back to flying coach. Guys, there's nothing you can do to stop me. Since you've all been pretending to go after Big Pharma for years, I thought it would be really funny to actually do it.
This won't work, Donald. No one on planet Earth has enough influence to stop Big Pharma.
That's not true, Bernie. I am Histrelin, leader of the non-binaries from the planet Endopharma. My pronouns are she, schmorp, and I crap out of my balls. This executive order must go through. You see, my species depends on puberty blockers to survive. If a non-binary hits puberty, they die. Years ago, our planet ran out of these essential drugs, so we depend on Earth's endless supply, but they're getting expensive. Lowering the price of pharmaceuticals means puberty blockers will be cheap again, literally saving every non-binary. As someone who is 1/1000th non-binary, I sympathize with you, but I will not be forced to throw away liquids above 3 ounces every time I fly.
So it is something to behold on how the idiotic presence of people like AOC, Bernie Sanders, Jasmine Crockett, and a laundry list of idiocy that they bring to the table can even be a viable aspect in our government. But they're sitting there along with Pocahontas, who, she's 1/16 of a whatever, as she just said in the cartoon. But there it is. So with that, it's Tuesday afternoon, and it should be a wonderful afternoon. We finally got a good rain here overnight that has helped the garden and the grass grow, and we'll be out probably cutting again this weekend, because 1 inch of rain equals 2 inches of grass growth around here, and we have to keep up with it. So, and that includes the pastures. So we wish you, Kaiser and I wish you a very, very happy rest of this Tuesday. We'll be back here tomorrow, but it'll be a late report tomorrow. I have a lot of appointments in the morning and Kaiser's grooming. So we'll do an afternoon broadcast for you tomorrow. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you then. In the meantime, stay safe, stay strong, and stay tuned to the Kaiser Report for more fun and information for your day. Bye-bye now.